Do you feel like Kanye's beats have been in decline? Well, if you break down his production, you might notice that Kanye has stopped doing many key beat-making techniques that he did in the past. And this might explain why his production has become disappointing to so many people. So today, let's talk about what some of these key missing beat-making techniques are, why they're so important, and how you can even think about using these ideas in your beats. My name is Navie D. I've broken down and analyzed beats from many amazing producers, so let's just jump right in and I'll explain why I personally think Kanye's beats have become a letdown. Now, the best way to approach this is by breaking down old Kanye versus new Kanye and compare how they make beats differently. So let's start by looking at how Kanye approaches innovation. A great example of this is Black Skinhead off of Yeezus. Now, what you might notice is that this is a minimal beat, but there are so many innovative ideas in it that help this beat still stand out and feel complete. Firstly, the BPM of this beat is set to 130. Now at 130 BPM, most producers would typically place their claps on the 3 and the 7. But in this beat, the claps are instead placed on the 2 and the 4. So already this is a unique idea and it makes the beat feel like a lot more is happening. Another unique difference is that a different grid is also used. Here with a standard beat grid, you will notice that these notes are off, and that's because this drum pattern was built using a third beat grid instead. So the fact that this beat has a high BPM, claps are being used far more often, and it has an unusual grid line that's used, all of this helps this minimal beat not only sound full, but also unique and innovative. Now let's compare this to Dead, a song off of his latest album, Vultures 2. This beat starts by sharing many similarities. It's a relatively minimal beat, much like Black Skinhead. This song though has one core instrument within it, which is playing the exact same thing over and over again for the entire beat for the most part, and that's pretty much it. By the way, here I am using my secret plugin that makes sampling easy, as it shows you all the notes within a sample, plus it lets you export any note that you want. You can join the waitlist to grab this when it comes out, link is in the description. But as you can hear and also see, this sound is minimal, it's not doing much in the beat, it's a pretty standard sound, so nothing innovative so far. But at this point, there is a lot of remaining space to be filled up and a lot of opportunity for something unique to occur in this beat. However, when we look at what is done in this beat, gone are the innovative ideas. Instead, we have some standard stuff happening here. Yes, the BPM of this beat is 134, close to Black Skinhead's 130, but this time claps are in the typical spot on the 3 and the 7. And from here we have typical hi-hats, typical trap 808s, and overall typical trap drum structuring. And to me, this just doesn't feel like enough. The lack of innovation with many of Kanye's minimal beats nowadays just end up making them feel incomplete, which has been a common complaint about Kanye's new production. Next, let's look at how Kanye approaches sampling. A great display of his sampling capabilities are on You Don't Know My Name, a beat that he produced way back for Alicia Keys. Now, if you break this beat down, you see that there are many chops that are being made across multiple parts of this sample. And you can also see it's not as if Kanye is placing chops in obvious places, which helps him make the beat feel more interesting. He also adds a small layer of drums into the beat, helping it feel more structured. And on top of that, the part of the sample that Kanye chooses works well for this beat. Here we have a sample that mainly consists of pianos and vocals, but with the way that the sample is used, the vocals within the sample don't get in the way. They feel more like an instrument in the beat. Now let's compare this to modern Kanye beat, 530 off of, again, Vultures 2.
5:30, the car missing. No text backs or call misses. I feel like we all victims.
Both of these beats share similarities again. The beats both consist of samples that have pianos and female singing, but the outcome here is drastically different. For one, no chopping and rearranging is done to this sample. This end section of the sample is pretty much just taken and looped.
Baby, yeah. Well, baby, you pick it when you call.
And that's pretty much it. For the most part, nothing else is really done to this beat. Now, raw looping like this isn't necessarily a bad thing. Having said that, when you listen to the final 530 song, to me, it sounds like the vocals in the sample are getting in the way and fighting with the rapping.
No texting, just call missing. We fighting, you won't listen. You right, we both tripping.
So here, not only do we have a lack of sampling techniques, but the decision for which part of the sample to use also doesn't seem the greatest either. And so we're left with yet another mismanaged beat idea here. Now, what might be the most disappointing about new Kanye is the sound choice. Take a listen to this beat, Sky City, off of Vultures 2. It's a guitar type beat. It's a guitar type beat. He used a guitar type beat. But what I actually find the most unsatisfying about the way the new Kanye production sounds is the lack of form. So in recent years, Kanye has made a lot of these kinds of beats that don't have form to them. For example, Husband, again off of Vultures 2.
And it won't be long till you're out of bands.
Now, when you break this beat down, it's pretty much this single floaty pad of sound that feels cloudy and formless. And again, this just doesn't feel like enough to make this beat feel complete and full. But what's odd about this is that we've seen old Kanye actually do this exact same idea in the past, but much better. What I'm referring to is Hold My Liquor.
Waking up on your sofa when I park my Range Rover.
Now, when we break this beat down, we actually see a similar starting idea. We have this floaty pad of sound that feels cloudy and formless. But Kanye makes some key decisions that help this beat actually feel complete. For one, he introduces a pulsing kick throughout the beat, helping bring some more form to it. And he also uses this strange sample that might seem random, but it's actually an important component to the beat. This sound is consistently playing with regularity at the same time over and over, and this helps bring form and rhythm to the beat. And the same thing is true when you look at that short stuttering synth that comes in later in the beat, since it's basically working the same way as a hi-hat pattern would. All of these additional ideas in this beat help bring more form and help the beat sound complete, whereas many of the new Kanye beats, they just don't have that additional work done. And overall, this is why I personally feel a bit let down by Kanye's new beats. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with my analysis here, and let me know why. Hit like and subscribe, and if you enjoyed this deep dive, check out the video next to me. It is very good. Otherwise, I'll see you next week.